Hey, it's Niclas, and I welcome you to my first attempt at a Pokémon Platinum Kaizo HARDCORE Nuzlocke, the newest sadistic creation by the brilliant sinusoided figure who gave us the ever-iconic Emerald Kaizo, a game that I never played because I value my sanity. I do love watching a fellow German lose his mind attempting and ultimately beating it. Now look, I've been playing Pokemon for as long as I can think. I would definitely consider myself a veteran, and I do have attempted and even completed some Nuzlockes across the past few years, both easy ones with like items and so on, but also the ones on the HARDCORE Nuzlocke rules. As a matter of fact, I literally completed one just earlier today, which I even recorded and will make a video about soon. What has to be said though is that I usually play the classic Pokemon games, not Rom Hacks. And that for good reason, because while I am a veteran who would consider himself a decent player, I do like mention value my own sanity. And you cannot complete any of these Rom Hacks as a HARDCORE Nuzlocke challenge without losing your mind and hours of your life. I love Pokemon and I love the idea of HARDCORE Nuzlockes because I'm someone that enjoys a challenge, but a challenge needs to still be fun. It's ultimately all about a good balance, and to me, these ROM hacks very often fail to hit that balance. Things I've seen Peachal and others go through playing these games, I couldn't do it, man. Like, there's challenging, and there's having to sit in a calculator for hours to plan one single fight. That just doesn't seem fun to me. It looks tedious and dreadful. I know the feeling of success is high, but the feeling of defeat is as well. And I'm honest enough with myself to know that these kind of ROM hacks that require such utmost precision and time invested would just tilt and frustrate me pretty quickly. Nonetheless, I said why not jump into the cold water and turn out a Pokémon Platinum Kaizo HARDCORE Nuzlocke blind. I mean, it can't go that bad, right? Right? Now, Platinum was actually one of the games I beat in the Nuzlocke before. That included Item Store, where I ran for the Elite Four with the Licky and X items. I picked the girl because the girl designs are peak, and I'm myself Niclas, and I'm a rival after my bro Bunty, and I picked Piplup because Piplup is goated. First encounters time. Now I can't get an encounter on Road 201 because Piplup occupies that location, so we go into Lake Verity, and our first encounter is a Smoocher. I decided to go with the League of Legends nickname theme, so I named her Ash. Then I saw that we can actually get an encounter in Twin Leaf Town, where I got a Glamio that I catched and named Yui. I was actually able to get another encounter at the Verity Lakefront, where I encounter and catch a Starly called Quinn. Decent encounters, honestly. I didn't get any rare candies yet, so I decided to quickly level up my team versus some wild Pokemon, and I feel like this is the moment where people would reset already. Oh well, I added devs into the overlay, which I'm manually adjusting by the way, named Piplup Ziggs, and grabbed my newest encounter in Sandgem Town, a little skitty which I called Annie. It was time for my Route 202 to encounter a Sinnoh Classic Shanks, which I've obviously used before. Welcome to attempt 2 of my Platinum Kaizo. Actually, nah, I said fuck it and just kept going. I carefully leveled up my team and fought the first trainer, with any insects taking care of things with no major problems. The second trainer then for some reason already annoyed me with Toxic Protect and Leech Seed. Jimmy thankfully easily took care of business. Any insects then took down the bug catcher with no big problems either. I reached Jubilife City and grabbed an old rod nearby, with which I fished an encounter on Route 219, a cute little Spheal, aka Braum. Route 204's encounter was locked behind a gauntlet. Annie took care of Shallows before being forced to switch against Vulpix, which is taken care of by Ziggs, who snaps out of a confusion to do so. Braum and Yumi then tag team the Bidoof to claim victory. The second trainer's Feebas gets nuked by a Fake Out Crit before Annie gets forced out due to a Hydro Pump Magikarp. Braum then actually hits a Body Slam Para to somewhat safely take it out, while Ziggs and Yumi eliminate the oncoming Psyduck. While the trainer's Shinx was taken out by Annie, who has really been carrying so far, the oncoming enemy Skitty was pretty scary due to Sucker Punch, but was doable, and then there came Meowth, which nearly killed my Ziggs with Fake Out, forcing me to switch into Braum. And well, Hypnosis into Fury Swipes took down my first member in a trainer battle. I had no safe switch here, you know. Annie's Fake Out was denied by a Paraproc, and because I really couldn't afford to lose her, I switched to Ash, and yeah. Again, I feel like most people would have reset by now. I then just said fuck it and threw an Annie, and while Fake On was denied again, it did eventually take down the Meow via quick attacks. Whew. I got to grab a new encounter, an artist that nearly killed Annie, which I thankfully captured and named Zach, and then for the Thampian Ravage path, adding Camille to the team. I then randomly got Toxic in the school, which I learned my Zach because why not? After that I talked to the clowns, which were actually battles. Annie took care of Pichu, the enemy Smoocher went down fairly easy as well, and the Igglypuff was easily taken out by Zach. The second clown's metronome Sonic Boom Makuhita nearly took out my Ziggs, who thankfully pulled through, before Annie once more carried the ship against Happiny and Togepi, with Zach and Toxic finishing the job. The last clown's Mr. Mime Jr. got nuked by Fake Out into Quick Attack, before Snubble was very annoying with Lovely Kiss, but at least didn't do any further damage. Clever Mr. Yawn before nearly killing Yumi with a Metronome Power Gem. Thankfully Zack could easily tank and take it down. I then remembered that I had another encounter nearby and fished up a love disc on Route 218 named Rumble. It was time for the first potential run killer, the rival fight against Bunty. And rest assured, his team is nuts. His A-Palm has Fake Out and U-Turn to consistently deal damage, with Mankey also U-turning out to win me down. I negated the Allocate attack with Camille, who one-shots and somehow disappears with Dick. I resisted Turtwig's Razor Leaf with Zack, who could poison it after getting rocked by a high damage return. I had to switch into Yumi, who super clutchly survived the 1 HP after getting out 2 charms. Things looked really dire either way, so I threw in Camille, who tanked the Razor Leaf and took it out with Dick and Flail. Dick is a one-turn move here, by the way, which I didn't realize as I used it against Slack Off and then just got killed with Crush Claw. I threw an Annie to Fake Out and Quick Attack, didn't get the high roll, and got Annie killed via another Crush Claw. I mean, yeah, this run is dead. Ziggs avenged her to take out the Slack Off, people going face to face with Talo, which in theory is insanely scary, but like only used Protect and just died? Okay, sure. I then just sacrificed Yumi against the incoming Fake Out, people being dumb and charming the obviously U-turning A-Palm. Rumble thankfully took out the Mankey before being sacrificed as well, so that Ziggs just barely takes down A-Palm. I mean, yeah, what else is there to say here? This is obviously not salvageable at all. I did get a Natu named Sivir on the next route, but it pretty quickly died in one of the next battles, followed by Zack going down as well. Ziggs did survive, but also leveled to level 17, which went above the first gym leader's level cap, which meant I literally had no Pokemon left to use. A very anticlimactic end to this very rough blind attempt. I obviously played anything but perfect, but damn, this early game alone is already nasty. Like, making it past that first rival battle deathless seems to be nearly impossible without the right encounters. And that's a great example of what I meant earlier. The way these super difficult ROM hacks are designed is that very often you need those very specific Pokemon, or you're just kinda screwed. It will lead to 1 or 2 Pokemon dying, which will then just snowball into you losing your run. The amount of times I saw Jan and others reset early in Emerald Kaizo because they got a bad encounter kinda tells you the problem. Or just the fact that some battles basically require a very specific Pokemon to be able to deal with it. It just feels not fun. I wouldn't say unbalanced, but it honestly somewhat is. I don't know. I like mention love Nuzlockes, but these ROM hacks just feel like a bit too much. Especially when you have war games to play. But hey, Jan vibed to the first gym on his first run, so it's not like I just suck. This ROM hack is just, yeah, ridiculous. I actually attempted 4 more runs afterwards. Attempt 2 ended after Turtwig died to a white Farfetch with Poison Jab, and then 3 due to Burmy refusing to be catched, also killing Turtwig. I then reset attempt 4 as I killed my encounter Shinx at the lake, and a Delibird I couldn't escape from about to wipe me made me quit run 5. And with it this ROM hack. I think I will just attempt a regular Platinum Hardcore Nuzlocke instead, and let the sicko sacrifice his sanity once again. Right now I am back in a big Pokemon phase, who knows how long it will last. I do, like mentioned, definitely want to make a video about the Hardcore Nuzlocke I completed before this attempt. Till then, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe to show me that you did and want to support me. Comment your thoughts on these difficult ROM hacks and Nuzlocke in general down below in the comments. It's Niclas, enjoy yourself some video games, and I can't wait to see you back soon on my channel.